Welcome, Alyssa. So why don't we...
For the folks that just joined, if you want to put in the chat what state you're from, love to know where folks are. We know we have folks from Massachusetts, from Michigan, California, Connecticut. Yeah, let us know where you're at.
Yes, everybody just joining, please control your own mute control and control your own video. Just want to make sure there's no distractions while our presenters are speaking. Really appreciate everybody joining us. My name is Norman Eng, and I am the Public Affairs Specialist from the Massachusetts District Office. Thank you, Alyssa from Michigan, for joining us. Want to remind everyone to just mute yourselves during the presentation and also control your video. Those of you that are on the phone, please be aware of your voice control as well. I'm just going to bring up the agenda really quick and make sure everybody sees our agenda, which will last hopefully until 12:30-ish today, an hour and a half. So we're especially pleased to be collaborating with this event with the Michigan District Office and District Director Lakita Henderson. Thank you so much, as well as our headquarters Director of Surety Bonding, Mr. Peter Gibbs, our guest speaker today. Those of you that don't subscribe, just want to remind everybody to subscribe to your local district office newsletters and communications by going to sba.gov/updates. We want to continue serving the small business community, and the best way to do that is to stay connected and work with us. This meeting is being recorded right now, and we hope to have a Q&A in the chat as well as after the event. So please feel free to type in the chat box at the top, and as well as keep some questions for the end. Now with that, I do want to introduce District Director for Massachusetts, Robert Nelson. Call him Bob. And Bob will be giving us an intro. Bob, do you want to start us off?
Sure. Perfect. Thank you, Norman. So as Norm mentioned, everyone calls me Bob. So Bob Nelson, I am the director of the SBA here in Massachusetts, but certainly am very happy to be with all of you this morning for what is our third in our Coast to Coast series of events. And so we started off doing a event with our Houston office on innovation and the SBIR program. Then we went to Seattle for exporting, and now we're with our Michigan office for everything relating to surety bonding and government contracting. So, you know, I think that this is wonderful. You know, as I've mentioned in other sessions, this is probably one of the only benefits of COVID that we've gotten pretty good at being able to connect with folks through virtual environments. And, you know, pre-COVID, no way that we'd be able to partner with a district office halfway across the country to deliver a training program, but also it helps us to get, you know, key speakers from headquarters. So again, we have Mr. Peter Gibbs, who's the director of SBA's Surety Bond program, with us this morning, and you'll hear from him in just a little bit. But again, this is just one of the benefits of being able to connect with folks from all across the country and to deliver really important information and training to everyone. So welcome to everyone from Michigan and from Massachusetts and everywhere in between. But we're going to be sharing a lot of information with all of you today, and it's on surety bonding and the SBA Surety Bond Guarantee Program. You know, it is to try to help you to be more successful in winning contracts. That is what it is all about, getting the money, getting the contracts. But As we've mentioned, very fortunate that we have Peter Gibbs with us, but really want to thank Lakita for agreeing to partner with us. Lakita actually reached out to Nadine and to us and said, "Hey, I see that you're doing things with all the offices. How about doing something with Michigan?" So, we thought that this was a good topic, and so appreciate the partnership and collaboration with the Michigan District Office and Lakita and your team. So again, I know we're going to hear from you in just a little bit, but I did want to thank all of the small businesses who are with us today and who are going to be sharing their tips, their strategies, their thoughts on SBA Surety Bond Guarantee Program. And we absolutely know that small businesses learn best from their peers. And so thank you to our three businesses who are with us this morning. So we have two from Mass and one from Michigan. But in addition to the small business panel, we also have a resource panel network. So you're going to hear from folks who deliver the surety bonds to the small businesses, again, with the goal of helping you build your bonding capacity so that you can get contracts. But Lakita, when we first talked about this, I think the timing, you think of where we are today with how the infrastructure bill is looking more promising and where we're headed. And, I was listening to a report earlier today, and that infrastructure bill is anticipated to create 2 million jobs across the country. And so, but this is something that we want small businesses to benefit from. We want small businesses to get their fair share of those government contracts. But it's not just on construction and infrastructure that we help with bonding and the SBA Surety Bond Guarantee, and you'll learn more from the experts and from Peter. But before I get further and introduce Lakita, I did want to just give some very quick updates on our capital access program. And so, I know Michigan, as Massachusetts, has been working in overdrive over the past year and a half to deliver our PPP programs, the economic injury disaster loan programs, the restaurant relief, and the shuttered venues operators grant. It is absolutely historic what SBA has been able to deliver nationwide and in each of our respective markets. Huge dollars, a huge number of small businesses tapping into those dollars to help them with their survival. But I wanted to just talk quickly about the SBA's economic injury disaster loan program. So currently, right now, as of today, we're doing loans up to $500,000 for 24 months worth of working capital. We do anticipate some changes, but there has not been an official announcement yet, but we're anticipating those loan limits being increased and some greater flexibilities with respect to affiliation rules and also with how you can use the idle loan proceeds as far as paying debt. So stay tuned, stay connected with us. You heard Norm put in the plug for connecting with us so that you get our Gov deliveries. But when you think of the SBA's economic injury disaster loan program, 3.75%, interest rate fixed for 30 years. It is a wonderful program. If it's under 25,000, it's unsecured. Under 200,000, there's no personal guarantees. It is just a wonderful program. And what you all need to know is that you don't go for a second idle loan, but you go for an increase. So if you've already received an idle loan, you want to consider going for an increase. Connect with the district offices, but go on to sba.gov/disaster. Go into your portal to request an increase. But we want to make sure that you know of this program because this absolutely can be a continuing lifeline to help those small businesses with capital and working capital so that you can continue on your road to recovery. And I know that when we first started doing the increases up to 500,000 back April 6th, there were a lot of backlogs with the IRS and the 4506 transcripts. Due to the prevalence of fraud with IDLES early on, where we weren't doing verifications, all loans require verifications of the filed tax returns. So, but what SBA has told us, our Capital Access Office, is that the backlog has been cleared for the most part. We're still working very closely with a number of small businesses on correcting 4506Ts, getting them in. The IRS has quickened the turn time in getting information to the SBA so that we can process those loans and get you the dollars and get you the increases. And, I know that our associate administrator, Patrick Kelly, Cap Access, took over responsibility for COVID idle delivery in early July. And since Cap Access has taken over responsibility for that program, a lot of procedural changes to streamline the process, to quicken the delivery, to improve the customer service, and to shorten the turn times on these things. And I won't bore you with the details, but trust me, Patrick Kelly is a man of action, and this is his laser focus in order to try to help small businesses to get these idle loans so that you can continue on with your recovery. But all eyes right now outside of COVID idle, PPP forgiveness is on the front radar for all of us. This is another program with Capital Access, and with Patrick Kelly saying that he wants forgiveness to be 100% in the rearview mirror by Labor Day. We're getting close to that. But trust that we've made some changes on PPP forgiveness with direct forgiveness. If the lender opts in, this is for loans under 150,000, where the small business can apply for forgiveness directly through the SBA portal. It makes it easier for small businesses, and some of these smaller lenders around the country don't have the technology platform that SBA has. So this is helping a lot of lenders and the small businesses with the forgiveness process. And the other thing that SBA did, which is really huge when you think of it, and again, this is for under $150,000 loans, where for PPP second draws, the business needed to demonstrate a 25% revenue reduction in order to be eligible. And what SBA partnered with and has put in our portal a COVID reduction score. And so if the small business passes with that COVID reduction score, and again, this is for loans under $150,000, you're not going to have to submit documentation in order to substantiate that 25% revenue reduction. Again, this is all what we're trying to do: use technology, make things easier and simpler for small businesses. But with that, there's other things that we have in the works, and other things that we're delivering. Our regular loan programs, the incentives are in place through the end of September with our 90% guarantee, and with the no fees for small businesses and for lenders. We'll have to see what SBA announces as far as fees for the fiscal year that will be 22, starting on 10/1. But I think that you'll see some things in there to help small businesses, and especially low dollar loans, to help our lenders to deliver that loan program and help small businesses to get that capital. But again, stay tuned with us. But I think you should anticipate, based upon some hints that we've heard from our Director of Financial Assistance, as far as some enhancements that should be in place for fiscal year 2022. But with that, I've spoken too long. I want to introduce Lakita Henderson. Again, it's my honor to introduce you, and I'm so happy that you're with us this morning. But I want to let you know a little bit about Lakita. She's been serving as the district director role in Michigan since November 2020. Previously, the acting district director and deputy district director roles in North Florida, San Antonio, many years of government contracting experience in Washington, D.C., Birmingham, Alabama. Lakita, you have many years of wonderful experience. So again, you are a resource for the many small businesses up there in Michigan and folks here across the country. So let me turn it over to you for your welcoming remarks.
Good morning. Thank you, Bob. Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here. I'm going to be brief because I want us to get into it and get all this great information. I just wanted to say thank you to the Massachusetts District Office. Bob, your team has been wonderful. And when I saw you doing all these collaborations, everyone, I did reach out to them and go, what about Michigan? So I'm glad we were able to connect and get together. I just want to say a couple of more things. One, we've got small businesses who have actually used surety bonding who can speak to uh, the effectiveness of having a surety bond. We have surety bond professionals also on this webinar who can give you assistance. And then we're going to end all of that. We got PTAC on the other end who can tell you, now that you have all of that, how do you go after federal contracts? So absorb this, remember the names, because these are people that you can reach out to later on, and let's get started. Nadine?
Lakita, thank you so much. I added in the chat that you are my former co-worker from Washington, D.C. And not just that, you are my friend. Thank you for reaching out to us, Lakita, and making this collaboration happen. Bob Nelson, thank you also for guiding us in this effort. So my task right now is to introduce Peter Gibbs, who's our keynote speaker. I am Nadine Boone. I am the lead business opportunity specialist for government contracting here in the Massachusetts District Office, as well as the lead economic development specialist for marketing and outreach and creating collaborative partnerships with community-based organizations like the Urban League, like the Boston Public Library, and those type of organizations in our communities, creating public-private partnerships. But right now, I want to talk to you about Peter C. Gibbs, who is our keynote speaker this morning, and he is the director for the Office of Surety Guarantees at the SBA in Washington, D.C. at our headquarters. And Peter manages a staff of over 25 professionals at the headquarters organization in the regional office in Denver, Colorado, and Seattle, Washington. We do have Tamara Murray, who's going to participate in this call, who is here from Colorado, from Denver, Colorado this morning. But prior to joining the Office of Surety Guarantee, Peter worked as the SBA investment in the SBA investment division for over 14 years in new markets, in the Office of New Markets and Venture Capital and Rural Business Investment Program. We call that the SBIC. And Peter began as a senior program analyst, where he rose through the ranks of the deputy district director deputy director and successfully landed the New Markets and Venture Capital Program from inception to fruition, establishing policies and procedures as well as regulations. So Peter is also a military veteran, where he served over 27 years in the United States Army. He is a commissioned officer from Central State University, ROTC, and Peter retired from the Army as a lieutenant colonel. So he is a veteran. And Peter is retiring from the Small Business Administration on Tuesday the 31st. So we surely want to applaud the fact that we have him here with us. This is one of his last SBA official duties. Peter was born in Trinidad and Tobago, West Indies, and he currently resides in Bowie, Maryland with his wife, Nakia, and 5 daughters. Can you believe that? So for now, I'm going to turn this over to Peter C. Gibbs, Director of the Office of Surety Guarantee.
Thanks, Nadine. I always get scared when they say keynote speaker. So you were saying that too many times, so now I got pressure on me. Anyway, listen, before I get started, I want to compliment Bob and Lakita collaborating and doing something together. I've always wondered, in my many years at SBA, why many of the district offices don't collaborate. Because I'm sure that there are offices who have strengths in certain areas. So I think it's something that the entire SBA should adopt, because I think, the biggest benefactor of getting the best from different offices obviously is going to be the small business. So congrats on that. Just a little bit about me, aside from what Nadine said. Prior to coming to the federal space in 1990, I was the CFO of a construction company in Dayton, Ohio called Wise Construction Company. And I helped them with their 8A certification. I helped them, establish bonding. And then I also worked for a company in New York City called Nyco Construction, which was at the time a subsidiary of the largest interior construction company, a company called LVI Group. And then, of course, I started working for SBA. And I'm telling you that not because I'm trying to pat myself on the back, but I want to let the audience know that I have been on the other side of where I am today, working with small businesses. I remember working with Mr. Wise, and I'm sure every small business can relate to this, where, the owner says, hey, pay the employees and pray that on Monday there's enough money to cover the checks. I lived that life for several years. So one of the things that when I came to the Office of Surety Guarantees is I wanted to make sure that we had a program that was an asset to small businesses. Any small business who is looking for a bond, that we had a program that would help them be in a position to not only compete for jobs, but compete with other products, bonding products outside of SBA, right? So our program was created in 1970 to help small businesses who were having difficulties obtaining bonding, contract surety bonds in the standard bonding market. And how do we do that? Well, the first thing is we partner with Treasury listed surety companies. And if anybody is familiar with bonding, there are a lot of non-regulated private bonding firms out there. But to partner with SBA, you have to be a Treasury listed company. And that means that the financial condition of that surety company is being it's being checked. Like, I believe every 3 to 6 months they go through some type of review. So we know that we're dealing with the best surety companies. There is an association called the Surety and Fidelity Association of America, and they're like the trade association for surety companies, and they have a list of surety companies that they produce that shows their top 100 surety companies. Well, 8 of the top 10 on that list partner with SBA. Okay, so again, we partner with the best surety companies to help small businesses. The other part of how this works is we partner with the surety companies, but as a small business, you will most likely interact with a surety agent or an agency. Like you have a couple that's going to be on this call. Devin Moore is one, and there's another agent, I believe, on the line. So we partner with, even though if you're a small business and you're looking for a bond, you know, most likely you will interact with an agent or an agency, right? So we have over 450 agents in our program, and they are authorized agents. They have to go through a process to become an authorized agent to participate with SBA. So we're giving you the best surety companies, and we're giving you agents who have experience in working with SBA to make sure that you get a bond in a timely manner, you know, for your project. Okay, so what I want to do is demonstrate to you, and there's someone that's moving around some paper. If you could put your phone on mute, we'll really appreciate it. So why SBA? Or why utilize an authorized agent who understands the SBA program? So a small business, when they're looking for a bond, they find an agent, and the agent has a choice. They can put you through the standard bonding market, or they can put you through what's called the specialty market. And I believe that our program would be considered a specialty market because it's for small business who are having difficulties in the standard market. But here are some of the advantages. If you're a small business and you go to the standard bonding market, let's say it's $1 million contract, they're going to require you to have 10% liquid cash. So if it's $1 million job, they're going to expect you to have $100,000 in the bank, right? If you can do that, you can get bonded in our standard market, in the standard market. Now, if you're having difficulties in the standard market, and you go to SBA's website and you pull up an agent, like a few of the agents that's going to be on the call, you pull up a Devin Moore. Well, these are the tools that he can use in our program, because we guarantee 80 to 90% of a bond, right? We tell our surety companies that we're okay if the working capital of that small business is only 5%, right? So in the standard market, $1 million job, you have to have $100,000 liquid cash in the bank. If you go to one of our agents, that $100,000 requirement or working capital requirement is now $50,000, right? So as a small business, you don't have to tie up $100,000 of your cash. That's the first advantage. The next advantage is in the standard bonding market, you know, for that 10% liquid cash, of course, it has to be cash, right? But if you are a small business and you have a business line of credit, the unused portion of that business line of credit can count towards that 5% working capital that I just talked about, right? And I need for you guys to pay attention because there's going to be a comprehensive exam next Friday that the Massachusetts office is going to send out. So make sure you're taking notes, right? So again, so we as a business, and if you link up with an authorized SBA agent, not only are they going to reduce the working capital requirement in half, but if you have a business line of credit, the unused portion of that business line of credit can count towards that 5%, right? So needless to say, we have many small businesses in our program who don't have a lot of cash, but they're getting bonding, and in most cases, they're getting twice the amount of bonding, contract surety bonding that they would get in the standard market, right? And that happens all day, every day. Now, for the conservative underwriters, they would probably have a heart attack. How can you do all this stuff to what we would consider as a risky small businesses, and you're gonna count the business line of credits, you're gonna reduce the working capital requirement. But what I say to those people is this: what we have found is, many small businesses, all they want is an opportunity, right? Once they get that opportunity, chances are they're gonna be very successful and they're gonna complete that job, right? We, as an office, we get $6 billion appropriated to our program on October 1 of every year, and we only count only final bonds, if that company is awarded the contract, is counted towards that six billion. So we do about $2 billion in awarded contracts on an annual basis. But we also know that small businesses are if they can't get a bid bond, they are unable to get into the game, because most, especially on the federal level, they require these small businesses to have a bid bond. A bid bond is no cost to the small business, but when you count the bid bonds, where we're helping these businesses get into the game, we do about $7 to $8 billion in contract dollar value for small businesses, right? And then the other part is the default rate in our program right now is less than 2%. And the loss rate for the entire program is about 1%. So, again, to anyone who is a conservative underwriter and think that we're putting, taxpayers' dollars at risk, what I would say to you is, the program has been extremely successful. Our claims are paid from a fund at Treasury, and over the last couple of weeks, I've been getting a lot of accolades for all the stuff that I've done. But to me, the number one thing that I could say is that in the 17, 18 years that I've been with this program, we have been in a positive cash flow every year. We have grown the revolving fund at Treasury from when I started from about 16 million to about 108 million. So it's a very, very healthy program. And it's not just for construction. We do about 70, 80% construction, and it's not just for federal contracts. It's for any contract that requires a bond, can get a guarantee from our program. I know I don't have much time, but there's a couple of things that I want to stress, and these are test items. It's going to be on the test next week. The number one thing that I would say if you're a small business is this. There's a lot of pressure for entities, also for general contractors, and I'll just pick, Detroit for a second, and there may be a quarter or where they have to provide they have to make sure that maybe 20% of the contract of the contracts in Detroit, and I don't know if these are facts. I'm just making up some numbers, right? So don't send me any emails about that. But let's say the requirement in Detroit is 20%. So now you have the county or the city of Detroit and the general contractors who are under pressure to make sure that small businesses, whether they're women, African American, veteran-owned businesses, whatever they are, they get 20%, right? So let's say Tamara Construction Company gets a job in Detroit, and Gibbs, I'm the general contractor, and I'm under pressure. And I'm like, so I say, Tamara, don't worry about the bond. You can be under my bond, right? So me and Tamara have a relationship. 5 years down the line, that relationship is severed, good, bad, or indifferent, right? So now Tamara knows that whenever her family comes to Detroit, hey, I put up that building, I put up this over here. So now she's confident that, hey, I've been doing jobs at the $500,000 range, and I should be able to get bonded, right? So she goes to an agent, and the agent is going to give her what's called a contractor's questionnaire, probably about 7 pages. And one of the first questions that they're going to ask is, what is the largest bonded job that you have done? And based on the scenario that I just described to you, it's 0, because Tamara has always been under my bond. So the test question for you guys is this: if you're a small business, do not go under someone else's bond. Make sure that you get your own bond every single time, because you're building the capacity for your business. And sometimes, and I know a lot of small businesses, in my office, if you say the word loan, you get fined, right? So we don't talk about loans in my office. But I would tell you that if you are a small business and you're in the construction or any business that requires a surety bond, test question number 2 is, you should have a relationship just as strong as with your banker, with your surety agent. Okay? Now, what happens when you don't have that relationship? This is a real live, I like to give examples. I don't like to make stuff up. But recently got a call from one of the district offices. Hey, we've got this African-American woman who just got a contract with the FBI. It's 2.3 million, and she has to get a bond within 3 days. She got awarded the contract. Well, I don't want to bore you with the details, but she ended up losing that contract because she didn't have a relationship with an agent, and she could not get that bond done within 3 days. And that needs to be magnified, because if this infrastructure bill is passed, if you're thinking about getting any of these contracts, and if you think that it's going to be easy if you wait until you're awarded a contract, I'm here to tell you, and I'm sure that the agents on this line will tell you, it's, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying that there's a couple of things that can happen. Number one is, if you don't have an agent look at your balance sheet and tell you that, hey, this is the size jobs that you should be going after, and all of a sudden you get lucky and get a job that you don't qualify for, then you will not get a bond. This is the reality of this industry. So the other important thing that I want you to take note of is that immediately reach out to an agent and start establishing a relationship, because it makes no sense for you to go after projects that you don't qualify for. And, and the last thing I would do, because I know I don't have much time, but I like to demonstrate when I'm talking to people, right? Because whenever you're in a room, especially with small businesses, everyone wants that $1 million job, right? So what I do is I pick one person. I said, okay, put $1 million on the board, right? And then I tell another person, I said, I want you to put this in. And for you, I was educated in the Brooklyn public school system, so I always need help with my math, right? So I said, if you put 250, 250, 250, and 250, I think that's $1 million, right? But the difference is if you mess up on that $1 million job, you're probably out of business, right? If you have those 4 $250,000 jobs and you have problems on 2 of them, you'll probably survive, right? So, but these are the things that when you sit down with an agent and you build that relationship, they'll make sure that you're headed in the right direction, right? Of course, there is a cost involved. If you get a bond through SBA, the surety company is going to charge you a premium. SBA is going to charge you 6%, and of course, there's no cost for a bid bond. So I knew I threw a lot of stuff on here. It's a lot. It's a lot to digest in 10 minutes. So we'll lower the max that you can get on that test, Nadine, to 80%, right? So I think I went over my 10 minutes, but my 15 minutes, but I'll stop right now and I'll stick around. You guys can go through the panels, but I really want to answer, the questions that you guys have on here, because there's a lot of misconceptions about SBA but I'm here to, and Tamara and Devin, who utilizes our program, they can tell you. I'll tell you the one last thing is if you, if you submit an application, the SBA is totally it's 100% online, and we make decisions in less than 2 days. The max in our program is 6.5 million. On non-federal jobs, if it's a federal job, we can go up to 10 million. And we have what's called a quick app. And those are for contracts. It's a streamlined process that goes up to $400,000. And we approve those applications within minutes, right? So we have a tremendous, tremendous program. We have tremendous partners. That's here to help any small business with their contract surety bond needs. And I will stop right here. Thank you.
Peter Gibbs, thank you so very much. I wish we did not have to stop you because you are giving us great information this morning. We want to respect you, our keynote speaker, as well as all of our participants who are on this call. However, this team's call will continue to go on after 12:30 if need be. Therefore, we will continue to move forward. Peter Gibbs, am I able to put your email address or should I put Tamara Mary's in the event someone have questions about surety bonds? And I know that we have 2 surety professionals on this call this morning, so maybe their email instead. Could you tell me how that should be handled?
So you can use Tamara, but we also have what is it, Tamara? Is it surety, SBA surety that?
I will type it into the chat. It's sba.gov/OSG.
Thank you, Tamara.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peter. I am now going to introduce Peter Kontakis, who is the Deputy District Director for the Massachusetts District Office. And Peter Kontakis is going to moderate our small business panel. And I would really like to thank Abraham Gonzalez of One Way Development Incorporated, a 8A business development certified with construction firm, with the Small Business Administration. You all know how you see those one-way street signs? I always think of Abraham when I see one of those. So there it is, right behind him there. And he's construction. We also have Lillian Radke, who is an 8A woman-owned small business. She's certified, and she leads a janitorial business. And so there is Dwight with DCR, which has a construction businesses, and I do not know what the services may be since he is from Detroit. However, Peter Kontakis, I'm going to turn this over to you at this time.
Okay, thank you, Nadine. Thank you, Peter Gibbs. Thank you, Bob and Lakita. What a wonderful effort today to put this program together for our small businesses who want to learn more about surety bonding and really explore surety bonding from coast to coast. So thanks again also to our small businesses who are on this panel. So without further ado, I'd like to ask the first question of our small businesses, which Nadine has introduced for us. The first question I have for you guys is, small businesses can face hurdles when bidding on work that requires a bond, whether the small businesses are just starting out, or if they're recovering from a setback, or looking to expand into new opportunities. And so really the question for each of you here is, what bonding challenges have you each experienced as a small business? And let's start with our friends out in Michigan. We will be starting with Dwight for this question.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, my first, I first got into, when I got certified and got into federal contracting, my biggest challenge was liquidity, obviously. I mean, having the liquidity to get the bonds is key, and also having good credit, which, the bonding program will not get you a bond, but it will enhance the ability to get the bond, and it will enhance your bonding capacity. As Peter mentioned, the ability to use your line of credit and other mechanisms and double the bonding capacity of a normal underwriting is essential. But the challenge is getting there, and I personally had to use legal joint ventures, which allows you to use the past performance of bonding as long as a legal joint venture to get my capacity up and get my ability to bond individually, or my own bonding. So yeah.
Okay. So
Go ahead, Dwight. If folks if you could mute yourselves, please, or just control your mute buttons, that'd be great. Thank you. Go ahead, Dwight.
That was about it. It's the challenge of having the liquidity and experience, which, like I said, when I first started, I was able to get that through a couple of joint ventures that helped me accelerate my personal bonding capacity.
Great, thank you, Dwight. Appreciate that insight. Very helpful for everybody. Lillian and then Abraham, if you guys could also share your experiences and represent Massachusetts as well. Thank you.
Yes, hi, good morning, everyone. For me, the first challenge that I had was because I never had a bonding need before. And my very first one was a $500,000 bonding. So the contract was a large contract. It was for us to clean and also do maintenance in a courthouse in New Hampshire. So when I approached the insurance agency, they said, would it be better if you had a 20,000, then a 50, then 100, then a $500,000, not a $500,000 first. But thanks to SBA, we got it. So my very first challenge was because of the size that I needed.
Thank you, Lillian. Over to you, Abraham.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you for having this this powwow today. And I've been taking notes for my test. And I just don't want to repeat everything they have said, which is true, is having, you know, your surety wants you to have this type of crawl, walk, run method where they want to make sure that you could actually work, and they just won't give you a bond that easily. So having the SBA with the 400,000 quick app has helped a lot. Getting into bigger jobs could get difficult, but because of liquidity reasons and your capacity, and you know, when sureties look at your backlog and they look at all your work, you know, they feel that you could be at risk. So working on the 400,000 is a great thing. If they could increase that gap, I mean, they increase that quick app, that would be great. But other than that, it's just the liquidity and performance. Complete.
One other thing too is, you know, if the challenge too is, as someone mentioned, you know, bidding jobs, you know, you're limited to your aggregate on the bidding side as well. If there was a way to increase that to, because you're never going to win everything, and just, you know, increase the capacity of bidding, because we don't win every job, although that counts against your aggregate when you bid on jobs. So that's a challenge of getting to that limit without winning jobs, and sometimes the government takes 4 months to award before you can take it off your backlog list of bidding. So there's a way to do that. That would be great.
Hey, Peter, can I say something real quick?
Of course, go for it.
I want to answer Abraham. So we have what's called an NPRM that's at SBA's administrator to be signed. It was supposed to be signed yesterday. I believe it's going to be signed sometime today. That's going to increase the quick app from 400,000 to 500,000. So you're getting the latest information, man.
That's awesome, Peter. Thank you. See, you know, you guys joined the call today and you get, you know, the information in advance. So this is great. That was all great, you know, feedback from our small businesses. And Peter, thank you for sharing that as well. I truly appreciate that. And you know, Abraham, you mentioned that, you know, you might be repeating some of the things that others have said. That's okay. I mean, you know, the whole point of this conversation is to, you know, hear everybody's experiences, but if there are some commonalities or similarities, you know, that's okay too. So again, thank you all for being willing to share, for everybody to learn. The next question I have for you guys, you know, so small businesses, they found the benefits of SBA's surety bonding guarantee program through events like this, you know, that, you know, our Michigan and Massachusetts district offices are collaborating on. You know, some small businesses have found this information on SBA's website, others through program supporters in the surety industry. So I guess the question I have for you guys is, how did you all discover SBA's surety bond guarantee program? If you can just talk to us about, you know, your journey, I think that would be great. And maybe this time, let's start with Abraham, and then we'll go over to Lillian and then to Dwight.
Thank you. So Peter Gibbs said it, your relationship with your broker. And I happen to use Eastern Insurance, and they do a lot of, you know, they do a lot of bonding, and they have a pretty robust program. And they, you know, they work with the SBA, and they were very forthcoming and say, hey, some of these bonds that you want to go after, the SBA is the way to go. And so they made that connection, and I've just been very thankful for it. Complete.
For me, the insurance agency that I use, when I called them saying I need a surety bond for $500,000, gave me a big no at the beginning. And then I called another insurance that I had a relationship, because like Peter said, relationship is everything. They also gave me a big no. Then I called SBA Massachusetts. I think it was either Nadine or somebody. Hey, look, good news. I got the contract. It's amazing and a great opportunity. The bad news is that I already got 2 no's for the bonding, and then they gave me all the other insurance agencies that are partners with the SBA. And then I got to know the people from Torrent Insurance, which they were very nice to work with. They said to me, "Will be hard, but with SBA, we can make it happen." So SBA referred me to the people that I should call.
Thank you, guys. How about you, Dwight?
Well, actually, I met my bonding agency is Nielsen Rosenhaus in Florida, and I met them actually. I think it was through a cold call, and I had been working with a bonding company that I had a couple joint ventures with, and they were trying to get me bonding independent of the joint venture. Then I met Chris Collins and Nielsen, and basically what it is relationship. And he and I developed a relationship, and he believed in my vision, and he started working with me and trying to get my bonds. And we started off, I think, at $1 million, and now I've got 5 and 20 in about 2 years, and trying to get more, obviously, because again, the bidding process ties up a lot of your bonding capacity. And but they've been working with me. They've been working with the SBA. It's been great working with them. They understand, the process at the the SBA. So it's been pretty smooth. And it's like I said, it's building that relationship with them and your bank and your CPA to make sure that the bonding company knows your, financial situation as well as your banking company, because actually they need it probably more than lenders, because that's the lifeline of your business, bidding and winning for construction.
That's great, guys. Thank you so much for sharing that. And as a follow-up question to that, I wanted to ask you each. So again, Peter Gibbs talked about it initially. You're each attesting to it. The fact that the relationship that the small business builds with their surety agent. It's a long-term professional investment in the small business's future growth. So I guess the question I've got here for you all is, what's the most important factor for you each when you're selecting your surety agent, and why? So, obviously, again, we've talked about how the relationships are really important, but what is it like, when you're looking for that surety agent, what are you really honing in on? And maybe we'll start with Dwight and then go to Lillian and Abraham. Thank you.
Well, for me, again, it was someone, getting someone that you can trust and they trust you, and them believing in your vision. Because, a lot of the bonding companies, they want to turn that deal. But, if you don't have that understanding with your agent that, you really want to grow and this is your plan. And like I said, when I met Chris, I gave him my 5-year plan, and he bought into it, and he said, I'll help you get there. I'll do whatever I can to help you get there. And he did. Highly suggest the SBA program because it gives you leverage. And so that was basically, you pick an agent that understands the SBA program and has had contractors in the past that have gone through the SBA program, because you got to understand what your surety can do as well as what the SBA is, because every time you get a bond, they both review it, and they've got to understand the process, and my agent does, and that's one of the key factors. But once you get through that technical acceptance of the company, it's the relationship. And them believing.
Thank you, Dwight.
Them believing in your plan.
Yes,
Thank you.
I love what Dwight just said, that someone that believes in your story. I also had to tell my stories and why we were not as profitable, because we were reinvesting. So they kind of want to hear me, all that I was doing for the company. And an agency that truly understand what it is to run a small business, right? A lot of banks, sometimes they don't understand that there's a story behind the scenes. So I think my agency, they not only understood and they cared about knowing my story, they took the time to guide my CPA to do the financials the way they needed. So they trained my CPA. So now every year is just very easy. We know exactly what kind of documents and finances they need. And my CPA do the way they prefer, the way SBA prefers. So it became very smooth year after year.
Awesome. Thank you, Lillian.
I'll just add, I met my SBA, my Eastern Insurance at one of the SBA events, and my accountant. So going to these events, I met them and they knew each other. And my accountant said, "Oh yeah, I've worked with this surety in the past, and they're great." And we've been tied to the hips, both my accountant and my surety, my Eastern Insurance, since then, since 2014. And you're all right. The relationship is very fundamental. If they know your vision, if they get where you're coming from, if you're transparent where you're at, they'll go to bat for you and work with you. I'm complete.
Awesome. Thank you, Abraham. Nadine, I'm being mindful of time. I got one more question for our panelists because they got a lot of great information. Is that okay? Excellent. Thank you. So I guess the last question I have, I'll leave it somewhat open-ended, but try and guide you guys as well. So I guess I'm just, curious. So we've talked about, obviously, what surety bonding is, how to obtain it, the fact that relationships are really important, the respective paths you have each taken. So I guess my question is somewhat twofold. I guess it's, what have you gained from surety bonding? How has this really benefited your business? And then I guess just some final, parting words or advice for the folks that are on the call today that you each would, like to provide as a final or a key takeaway for everyone. And let's go to Abraham, then we'll go to Lillian, and then Dwight on this one. Thanks everybody.
What I've gained is opportunities, so I'm a construction 8A, and we're working with different agencies, and if you do the job, then the agency you're working with wants to give you more opportunities, and just having quick access to the bonding has grown my business. And and it's interesting because in the world of 8A and construction, sometimes you do jobs that you're not typically used to doing. So in some ways, my business has evolved into provide other services that we haven't been able to do. Yeah, we know how to read plans, we know how to be resourceful, but it's actually opened my business up to other services that were not in my peripheral vision. It was like gone. I didn't know that I could put a lighthouse in the middle of the Boston Harbor. So that was like, okay, I've been building, not in the water, and now I could do water marine work. So it's just opened up new possibilities.
Yes,
Awesome.
I agree with Abraham. It gives you the confidence to, go forward, new contracts and new challenges, like Abraham said. Like I also got into new challenges because of SBA sending contracts our way and having this whole team behind our back. And I just want to say that Bob Nelson, Nadine, you guys were fantastic. Because of SBA, we added, millions of dollars in contract to our business, and we were able to hire people. And then they not only give us the contract, but they also give us the support, like we mentioned today, sending us the right companies alongside to help us fulfill the contract needs. One thing I would say that if my insurance agency were in this call today, is say, Lillian, if you need to give them a tip, tell them, make sure that they're profitable, that their financials are actually in place. It's not just like a QuickBooks file. They need to have something more professionally done. And don't start like I did. Like I went backwards. I got an agency and then I run to get the financials in place. Start getting your financials in place, so when you need a bonding, you're fully prepared, right? So any insurance agency on the call today, I'm sure can help and provide those, what they're looking for, what kind of profitability they need in order to get approval.
Thank you, Lillian.
Yeah, and I'd echo what they just said. I mean, the opportunity is great because of the increased capacity. I mean, it gives you, the opportunity to do a job 2 times your highest job, which, which is a great advantage when in the construction industry, because, one project, if you do a $2.5 million project, you can now bid on a $5 million project under the SBA guarantee program. So that creates higher opportunities for you, larger opportunities as well, and that allows you to grow, which is the advantage of the program. I mean, it gives you, like I said, it's not it's not like you're going, the bonding program is not going to get you a bond, but it's going to enhance your ability to do the work and get you opportunities beyond your normal capacity. So that's very, important in, small business growth, so, that is it. And I would again echo the CPA. I mean, we had to go through the process of aligning our financial statements to meet the requirements of the surety so that they could read them the way they want to read them every 3 months. So that process is essential. And, just have your, if you have any liquidity, use that to get your initial bond and just have your, your credit good and just, plug away. Like I said, smaller projects at the beginning, and, as those projects develop, you'll be able to get larger projects.
Thank you, Dwight. Thanks to each of you. You guys have been just amazing, just sharing your insights and your experiences and your advice for folks. Really valuable information that you've provided for us today. And again, want to thank each of you for being willing to, join us today and serve on this panel. And Nadine, thank you for affording me the opportunity to serve as the moderator for this esteemed panel. Over to you for the next part of our webinar today.
Peter Kontakis, thank you so very much. Lillian, Dwight, as well as Abraham, thank you all for being transparent and talking about this. I heard you all say that surety bonding as well as government contracting has opened opportunities to new boundaries for you. I kept hearing SWOT analysis in there, strategies, objectives, strengths, opportunities, things of that nature. We're going to now turn this over to Tamara Murray, who works for Peter C. Gibbs, the SBA underwriting and marketing specialist for surety bonding. And she's going to talk with our surety professionals. Tamara, over to you.
Thank you, Nadine. I do, and I'm not sure what we're going to do without Peter once he's gone. Yeah, we're all kind of in limbo right now. Well, thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here today and to moderate our panel of experienced surety professionals. I know they've got a lot of good expertise that they're going to share with our small business attendees today. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for offering to share your knowledge and expertise as surety professionals and SBA authorized bond agents with us today. Devin, would you like to start us off by telling us a bit about yourself and your agency?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Very informative conversations we've been having thus far. So my name is Devin Moore. I'm owner of Moore Surety Bonds Agency. We're located and domiciled in Indianapolis, Indiana. A little bit about myself. I actually am a second generation surety bond producer. My father was in the surety business, dealing mainly with court and commercial bonds. And he passed away when I was 12 years old, but I wanted to be just like my dad growing up, having the opportunity to go to college. I am a cowboy, University of Wyoming. I pursued my dreams of playing in the NFL as well. So I was, after school, able to go into the NFL and play for a few teams, notably the Seattle Seahawks, Carolina Panthers, Indianapolis Colts, and the Detroit Lions. But during my time in the NFL is when I actually took it upon myself to start my agency, similar to what my dad did. So during that time, I was introduced to a young gal out of Florida area who brought me up to speed on the construction side of bonding, and I fell in love with it. I must say to Dwight and Lillian and our other contractor there, I believe your name was Abraham. I am horrible with the hammer, but I love construction. So the surety bond product allowed me to be close to the construction side of the business without going out there and tearing things up. But long story short, I was able to become a part of the SBA as an authorized agent through some of the appointments I had with the different surety companies I do business with. And I would be remiss to not mention some of the different programs that I went through in order to gain some of that concept. The NASBP, in which I was part of their 515, and now I'm a part of their board of directors as an at-large member. The NFLPA, which I am actually a president of our local Indiana chapter here, and the Columbia Club, who's also taught me so much on leadership and being an advocate in the community and helping out in so many ways that allow me to contribute my due diligence and some of the things that I do to help some of the small contractors in the community of Indiana and of course around the United States. Hopefully that wasn't too long-winded, Tamara.
No, we're good, Devin, and we work in a very interesting industry, I think, and oftentimes we fall into it and we stay in it, and we're perfectly happy where we are. Thank you. Ed, what would you like to share with our audience about you and your agency? Ed, you're on mute.
Hopefully you can hear me.
There we go.
Okay. I work for Tonry Insurance, located here in Boston. We're a 100-year-old agency, started in 1926, specializing in contractors, bonds, and insurance. We've got the local market. That's kind of what we do. We have relationships with over 20 bonding companies, so we have lots to choose from when we go in place and who we want to use. Most are involved in the SBA program as well. So we do have options for our clients. I got in the business, as we say, always by accident. Nobody comes into bonding thinking that they want to get into bonding, except maybe Devin. But most of us are get it. I came through the financial side, so I enjoyed the combination of the insurance end of the house, but also using the financial analysis that really kind of drives me to, get up and help those companies grow by understanding their financials and sharing that knowledge with our clients as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ed. Yes, we're happy to have you both with us. And I think we've got some good questions so we can share some good information with our attendees today. And looks like y'all have been doing a great job using the meeting chat. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to pop those into the chat. We'll all be kind of hanging around to answer those questions for you later on if we're not answering them already in the chat. But we'll start with our first question, and Ed, if you want to start us off with your answer, and then we'll go to Devin. SBA authorized bond agents really only represent a very small percentage of all bond agents in the surety industry. How has using SBA's bond guarantee program enhanced your relationships with your clients?
Well, it really actually has gained us some clients, to be honest with you. Well, they're the distressed ones that sometimes need a little bit of help and work around it. They're not sometimes the easiest clients, but using the SBA has really helped. You go through times in which businesses struggle. They're showing a net loss. They're getting thrown out. There's some changes in regards to management changes that affect, the buyout of the owners and stuff like that. And the SBA has really been instrumental for us to try to find a home and find a way to get these guys, bonded and on their way again. So it's really a nice way to enhance our business, but also help them. There would be really no option for other clients, other sureties that really have said no. And with clients that do have either usually the financial problems, and with revenue or working capital, it definitely brings a new element to being able to help those clients.
So yeah, I agree with everything Ed just said there. One thing I would add is the guarantee. That word guarantee in the SBA's SBG program, it allows me to be able to go to my client with conviction and say, I guarantee that we can get this done for you. And that makes all the difference when dealing with a client who is kind of on the cusp of not knowing if they can get a bond or not. Knowing that it allows the underwriters that we're doing business with and the different surety companies to feel comfortable knowing that they have a second pair of eyes over at the SBA, taking a look at this file in the account, and knowing that the SBA has either approved or declined, which I haven't seen many declines in my day. The SBA finds new or different ways to help these clients and help these different small emerging businesses to get out here in the field and do what they do best, and that's the game of construction and different services out there. So that word guarantee has allowed me to really go out there and allow a lot of people feel comfortable in knowing that the SBA has their back.
That's great. That's what we love to hear. We like to say that we open doors to bonding for small businesses, and both Tonry and More Surety Bonds have been helping us to do that. So we sure appreciate that. So, small businesses sometimes ask us when we're on other events or even when we're on the phone and we're talking to them, why their surety wouldn't want an 80 or 90% guarantee from SBA. Why do you believe that the Surety Bond Guarantee Program is advantageous in assisting small businesses? Ed, you want to start us off again?
Yeah, sure. There's, as I say, it's, let me just, so I guess it becomes, I don't know why more surety, as you say, the more sureties are getting involved in the program. Most are involved now, at least most of the big ones. So we do have a place to go. So it's just kind of filling a gap in regards to the financial well-being of the company and trying to get them over the humps to get the bonds and grow in their program. So so it's a case in which we want them to get involved in the program, be successful at growing it. We'd like to grow them out of it, is the deal in regards to it, to try to get them to the capacity they need in the standard markets. So using the program, taking the guarantee, we've gone to the SBA, and before we even have talked to an underwriter, and say, listen, if we can get it done with you, we'll find somebody to write it on the other side. So there's a case in which we won't even go to the underwriting side. We said, listen, if we can get this approved through the SBA, then we'll find the right surety company that will stand behind us as well. So we've gone the other way, which isn't traditional. Traditionally, you go to the surety companies and you go that way. But we've found the success that have come through the SBA, that we can just go rightly to you guys, get the approval, and say, who wants it? You know what I mean? Who wants to be part of this and be part of this growth of this company as well?
Devin, you're on mute.
I apologize, Tamara. I was taking notes from Ed. That was some really good stuff that he mentioned there. Could you repeat the question for me? I apologize.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, we sometimes get questions from small businesses about why their surety wouldn't want that 80 or 90% guarantee from SBA. And Peter alluded to this a little bit. Ed hit the nail on the head about, what are some of the advantages of the program. So why do you believe that the SBG program is advantageous in assisting small businesses?
Yeah, of course.
So
as Ed mentioned, yeah, I mean, allowing that 80 to 90%, again, those underwriters to feel comfortable, those surety companies to feel comfortable when doing that, those favorable results, I mean, it speaks for itself. The small businesses just need an opportunity. So for the surety companies that aren't on board, hopefully they start to get on board. And from my understanding that you guys all pretty much already have over 30 different sureties involved with the program now and growing. And I know that number that I'm saying I'm shooting low there, but what I'm getting at here is it's success, right? The SBA market is success by itself. Not only do you get the surety bond product on this side, but you also learn about other resources during the process. So allowing that to happen for the small business is just success to me. And when you start to breed some of those small businesses and they start to grow and they start to get these different programs that allow them to start to hire on more individuals, now we're impacting the economy and the local economy and the large economy as a whole. I just wouldn't understand why surety companies wouldn't get involved in this program.
Right. Thank you both. Yeah, we think they should. We've got 42 surety partners, and Peter's had some pretty big impact on increasing the number of sureties that we partner with. So we're certainly pretty happy about that. Finally, I'm going to ask one last question, and it seems to be working. So we'll start with Ed and wrap up with you, Devin. What advice can you give to a new emerging small business interested in performing bonded projects, right? They can be challenged because they're new. Maybe they've never completed a project. So what's your advice for that new emerging small business that wants to bond some jobs?
Well, I think there was some have hit the nail right ahead on some of the stuff is one. Dwight said credit. You need to keep your credit up. It begins and ends a little bit with personal credit, so that's important if you're going to get involved with that. Bank lines of credit. If you can get a bank, continue to do that. As I say, it opens up. With the SBA using that as working capital, it's a huge thing. And then financials, internal financial controls. I don't think could be any bigger. Getting that QuickBooks up and running, getting that internals up and understanding where you are financially, and even start to do work on hand schedules. I know it's kind of a different word for contractors and having to do work on hand schedules, but understanding where your jobs are, where you're making money, and that will eventually help you find your sweet spot in order to find out, hey, I do well at these size jobs. So understanding a little bit the financial information is one. Building the relationship early is always important. We can guide you through recommend that CPA that knows construction. We can help you with that banker that's okay with construction contractors. So using a lot of that is very important. And then, be prepared for the long haul, I guess, with bonding, and understanding that it's going to take time to build up an equity within the firm, to understand that you got to grow a balance sheet in order to be successful. And then I guess listen to the agents and the underwriters. They're asking questions for the reasons in order to push you guys in the right direction. The contractors in the right direction is listening to what we had. We've been in the business a long time. We see what can be successful for contractors, and we kind of know a little bit of the pitfalls that occur as you move through and you grow. So that was probably my advice to the new guys.
Well, I tell you what, that's definitely going to be hard to follow because Ed hit everything on that. Great answer, Ed. If I do have anything to say, it'd be two things. And it's not the most political answer, so bear with me on this. Win. I think Dwight kind of alluded to it. You're bidding on a lot. You have to go through a lot. You have to endure a lot, but win at the end of the day, and then humility. I think humility is important, and this is, again, this is my own personal opinion on this. Ed has already given you guys the best political answer we can give as surety agents and providers, but humility is important because when you know that you haven't mastered a particular product or the construction trade that you're doing, keep working at it, knowing that when you don't know everything that's out there, you're not the best at it. Keep working at that. Get to learning so that you can become the best at it. And again, if you're not the best at it at any particular arena in which you're doing business, keep working to get become that best individual or contractor or firm that is soliciting to the government to do your services or whatnot. So stay humble while you're working towards the top. Because it's coming. When you're utilizing the SBA product, the program or whatnot, and the surety product, you better believe that if you're approved and when you are approved, you're going to have some successes We just want to make sure that you're able to handle those successes and keep growing. We want growth and sustainability during that process. So if there's two things I could say is win and humility. Be ready.
Great. I love that. I really enjoyed both of your perspectives and your advice. That's excellent advice for small businesses. I'm sure our audience enjoyed it as well. Thank you both so much for sharing your time and your valuable insight with us today. We certainly appreciate your partnership with SBA and your willingness to help SBA open doors to bonding for small businesses. For those of you in the audience, I am going to put our email address, my email address, and our centralized email address for the SBG program in the chat. I'll put the website in there again. You can find both Devin Moore Surety Bonds, and Ed Mulcahy, Ton Reinsurance Group on our SBA authorized agent list. So if you want to reach out to them after today, you can find them on our website if you don't have their information at hand. So feel free to do that. And thanks again, gentlemen. Nadine, I'll turn it back over to you.
Tamara, thank you so very much. Ed, thank you. Devin, thank you. Such great information that each of you all shared with us. We are going to now move over to our final panel, which is our Procurement Technical Assistance Counselors, our PTAC. And PTAC are not surety professionals, but they certainly are contracting professionals. And in the federal government space that I work in, the federal government has committed to doing 23% of its contracting with small businesses. Government is spending $400 to $500 billion a year. And so in that 23%, which is the whole piece of pie, there are some sectors of the pie, which is our woman-owned small business, our 8A small business, our service disabled veteran-owned small business, and our hub zone. These are all SBA certifications in which you can do business with the federal government. Therefore, I want to let you know that on our agenda, it says Stanley Grip is here for Massachusetts. However, today we are going to have Grace Otto, and we are going to have Beth from Michigan. And to both of you ladies, I want to ask you to please describe PTAC and what it is that you can offer to our small business owners. Beth?
Grace, great. Okay, I will take a stab at that. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Sorry about that. I can hear you, Grace. Okay. We can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Well, first of all, just very quickly, because I know time is limited. So first of all, big thank you to Bob and Lakita. I kind of feel like I won an award for being chosen out of our state of Michigan to represent not only my PTAC, the Macomb Regional PTAC, but the PTACs of Michigan, of which I am the president. And so just to let you know, I've been kind of in this procurement world as a PTAC for going on 20 years. I'm a certified federal contracts manager, and I have a master's certification from George Washington University. I'm only one of many very sound professionals in our state and across the country to provide this service. So PTAC, Procurement Technical Assistance Center. We're part of 10 U.S. Code Chapter 142. We've been around since the mid-'80s, since about 1985, and our role is to provide procurement technical assistance to businesses. Small businesses are our target market, although we are not limited to just working with small businesses and helping them in all things government contracting related, whether that be with the Department of Defense, some other federal agency, local municipality contracting, state contracting. We're sort of the go-to house to help you get started, to get yourself positioned properly with regard to registrations and basic kind of understanding the language of government contracting. Every industry sort of has their own industry. It's no different within the contracting community. We work off federal acquisition regulations. There are different federal agencies that then have their own subset of regulatory requirements. We sort of help you make sense of those and understand how to not just win or be positioned properly on getting that contract award, but then administering that contract once you've been awarded. And I don't want to take up all the oxygen, and I want to let Grace also speak, but I do want to foot stop on one thing that's been mentioned several times today, and that is the infrastructure bill. This is going to be a game changer as I see it moving forward, particularly a lot of opportunity within the small business community, and really can't encourage everybody enough to acclimate themselves with what that could mean to you, where you may fit in that bill. It's sure to really garner a flurry of contracting and grant opportunities. So I just quickly put a great link to an article that I put in the chat box that helps break down that bill into several areas and the dollar value attributed to those, and to start really looking at that and be prepared. So the one piece of advice that I know I'm going to walk away with, and I know I'm going to get an A on that test everybody's talking about, but to make sure that you develop those relationships with your agents now. When these things start to move forward and hit, you don't want to be running behind. And that was just, I think, an incredible piece of advice. So thank you to SBA for the invitation, Lakita and Tom Vargo out there. And Grace, I'll turn it over to you if you have anything else to add.
Thank you so much, Beth. Thank you for inviting me, SBA. Thank you, everyone. I learned a bit about surety bonding. Great information. I am Grace Otter, the procurement specialist for Massachusetts PTAC, covering western part of Massachusetts. I have been with PTAC as a PTAC specialist for about 15 years. I provide technical assistance and advise Massachusetts small business owners on how to do business with the federal, the state, and local governments. I conduct contracting workshops virtually now, but in person soon. And I'm just here to talk to you about the PTAC program. I think Beth has put the nail on the head and has said pretty much everything. And the only thing I would like to say is for PTAC, if you want to register with us, we can help you. So I put our website on the chat, so you can go to our website and then register, and we'll be able to assist you. Beth had already talked about how we are funded, I believe, and when we started in '85. So I'm not going to get too much into that. We have about 100 PTAC programs nationwide, and we have about 300 offices located nationwide. And before you can even begin business with federal government, you need to have proper registrations, like Beth said. So we do help you with things like SAM registration. You gather, in order to do SAM registration, obviously you have to get what we call DUNS number, and that stands for Data Universal Numbering System, and we can help you with that. The DUNS number is changing now to a different number that you would get. But when you call us or you register with us, which is Massachusetts PTAC, our number is 413-545-6303. My personal number is 413-545-6307. And my email is gotta@umass.edu. So the reason why you have UMass is because most of the PTACs are affiliated in one way or the other with either small business programs, or we are affiliated with the small business development centers. So that's why you have, and then the University of Massachusetts, and obviously the state of Massachusetts. So we are housed at the university. So my extension, if you see my email, is .edu. We will help you with all the programs that SBA offers. You know, for example, the women-owned small business certifications. We have what we call the Hub Zone certification, which is historically underutilized business zone. We have also service disabled veteran-owned small business certifications, what we call verifications. So I don't want to get into details with that. I will just leave time for any questions that anyone may have regarding government contracting. We also just one more thing. Cybersecurity is the main thing right now going on. Cybersecurity is something that we can also give you some information on. We're not experts, but we can provide you with any information you need with cybersecurity. I hope, and then we do GSA, General Services Administration. I don't want to, again, get too much into details. With subcontracting, for example, as well, we can help you with all information on that. And one other thing that we have is called the bid match program. And you match your services or products with keywords, and that we can plug it into this program, and you will be able to get notices as to which government agency or who's looking for opportunities. So it's a very good program. All the PTACs have them, and I think I'll leave it at that. I have a lot. I have a big mouth. I can talk, but I'll just be quiet for now. And my accent, one last thing, everyone, whenever I have presentations, they ask me, where are you from? Nope, not Jamaica. It's Africa. So I hope you all passed that test. Thank you again.
Grace, that's a little bit unfair. Africa is a continent. Where
yes,
in Africa?
I'm sorry. West Africa, Ghana, specifically.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. So Beth, as well as Grace, PTAC is funded by the Department of Defense, correct? And any
Yes.
trainings that I have had with the Department of Defense, they talk about PTAC like love and marriage. So would you tell our small business owners why they must create a relationship with PTAC if they're interested in city, state, or federal contracting?
Thank you for that, Nadine. Yes, there is a love relationship with the Department of Defense. So how we are organized right is we are a congressionally appropriated line item in the DoD budget. And what happens is that gets kicked over to the Defense Logistics Agency. The Defense Logistics Agency is responsible for all the logistics support to the warfighter, whether that be food, what we call subsistence, ammunition, a replacement component on a ground vehicle, ground weapon system, energy, anything that you can think of. DLA is responsible for the logistics support, getting that to the warfighter wherever they may need it. And so just to kind of give a heads up to you all, we are right now in the process of possibly transitioning. I think it's well beyond possibly out of the Defense Logistics Agency Office of Small Business Programs under the DoD Acquisition and Sustainment Industrial Policy. So this is a major with the PTACs. We're not kind of like sort of tucked away in another agency, but is sure to become much more visible to the DoD community across the board. So that really could be significant to us right now. We're kind of having details of that, what that means to us as a program, and why you should, if you're a small business, no matter what type of product or supply, if you're wanting to sell to the federal government, the Department of Defense and federal agencies buy everything that you would buy for your household that you could think of needing to procure. The best thing to do is to get with the PTAC. Our services are free of charge or at no cost. To, again, position yourself. We help you do market research. What federal agency should I be doing business with? Is there any procurement history related to the service or product that I want to supply, and what federal agency buys that, how often, is there a resupply? One thing that you can kind of count on the federal government to do it the same way they've done it before. So once you crack that code and you can break in, then good chances are you're now building past performance and you're on your way to becoming kind of a regular supplier, and it's a great way to broaden your commercial sales into another through federal, state, or local contracting. And that's basically what we do. We're here to help you get positioned and teach you. As Grace was saying, there's a lot of technical aspects of that along the way that we want to help you sort of navigate those bumps. Grace mentioned cybersecurity. This is a big deal within the DoD community. We need to make sure that we're mitigating any risk. If you are a component supplier to the DoD, it doesn't take long for adversaries to put together a picture of what you may be supplying along with other small businesses that now can create a sub-assembly to an assembly for a larger weapon system, and our data is being lifted. Folks need to start to really take proactive measures to protect their data. They call it CUI, that's controlled unclassified information. Make sure that you're taking measures to protect that. And they've now instituted what's called an interim rule. We're going to what we call this Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification, CMMC. The interim rule requires you to do a self-assessment and upload that into your past performance, and contracting officers can now look to see whether or not you have uploaded that score into your past performance. It's called SPURS. They are not necessarily evaluating for award what your score is yet at this time, but it is coming. So if you're a DoD supplier and you don't have your SPURS score for your self-assessment and your cyber uploaded, please get with your PTAC. We'll help you do that because it could take you out of the competition. And thank you, Grace, for bringing that up.
Oh, you're welcome. One last thing I wanted to add is I know there's people from small businesses from all over the country listening in. If you would like to have information about your PTAC, there are two main places that you can go. You can Google it. You can also go to aptac-us.org, and you can just click on the drop down to your state, and then you will find all the PTACs listed. You can also go to the DLA website. They also have the same similar thing where you can drop down and then find the PTACs and the names of the PTAC specialists, procurement specialists listed over there. So there are some PTACs that are in different states that may have more than one PTAC. So your location, because the state might be so big. In Massachusetts, we only have one PTAC because we're such a small state. So that's something I wanted to add to that. I can't think of anything else. And also for the states, if you're looking to have a state contract, Massachusetts PTAC, it's everything that is in Massachusetts here has it in all over the PTACs. We're all the same programs, except we're located in different states. So we'll be able to assist you with all the programs that the state has in order to search for opportunities. So it's not just the federal, but the state as well, and local governments.
Grace, thank you so very much. Beth, thank you also. You know, one of the great things about the Teams app is that this chat is going to be available to you even after this session is over. So Grace, I'm going to ask you to put your email address as well as the APTAC and that information that I've heard you mention in the chat. If there are small business owners that have additional questions and thoughts and all, you are able to add them to the chat. You are able to, Peter, Tamara, Lakita, Dwight, add any of you all who have additional information, you're able to add this to this chat with the small business owners. So we were trying to help to emphasize why you small business owners as government vendors and suppliers want to have a relationship with the PTAC. And as they've talked about this new infrastructure bill that is on the verge of being signed or not signed, whichever direction you have opportunities to do business with the government. Bob Nelson, the Massachusetts District Director, mentioned the business-to-business matchmaker that we are looking to have here in October, on October 15th, that is going tentatively going to be co-sponsored with the Senator Elizabeth Warren's office, as well as our Massachusetts Small Business Development Center, our PTAC. Grace is on that team. SCORE and our Women Business Center. That is something that I am working on right now with the flyer, the co-sponsorship, and things of that nature. We're going to have a meeting to take a look at the software, that vendor, and things of that nature. So by all means, subscribe to the Massachusetts SBA website, as Norman mentioned on the front end, so that you all can receive our newsletter and our calendar and see when these events are taking place. I want to turn this over to Bob and Peter, Peter Kantakis or Peter Gibbs, to see if you have some last words.
I just think this was a wonderful program. So thank you everyone for joining, and Peter, again, congratulations on your upcoming retirement. We wish you much happiness and success. And but I know we went a little bit longer, but a lot of great information. I am so happy and pleased with the session that we had today, and just appreciate everyone joining and hope everyone got some value out of this. But Peter Gibbs, let me turn it back over to you, and sorry for interrupting.
No. I appreciate it. I just want to add a couple of things. I can't really get into the numbers, but I was very fortunate the last 2 months to work with the White House, the Small Business Committee, on the infrastructure bill. And there are going to be included in the bill are going to be some significant changes to the SBG program. That means, and then the other part that I will emphasize, I've been around for a while in the federal government, and the new administration focus on equity. It's not just being thrown around. There are I have never seen the level of details that's being done to make sure that everyone gets a piece of the pie, right? I mean, I've never seen this level of looking at what we do, the forms. So there is an effort to make sure that every person gets an opportunity to take advantage of these opportunities. So we had some very, very long conversations, and there are some things in there that's going to be to enhance our program. Okay. I was taking some notes. For small businesses, in our program, the SBG program, the job size determines the level of financial statement that's required. For example, you can go to one of our authorized agent, and an in-house statement will get you up to $2 million in bonding. Okay. Of course, the larger the contract, the better quality financial statement is required. So anything above 6.5 is going to require an audited financial statement. So that's one thing. One thing I want to emphasize is, as a small business, there are a couple of ways for you to get a bond, right? You can, every time a job comes up, you call up your agent, hey, I need a bond for this job. What I try to tell small businesses is, and again, this is about that relationship with that agent, is sit down with your agent and come up with a bonding line. It's called a bonding line or a work program, where you and that agent, the agent's going to say, hey, these are your limits. You should be going after jobs on single, 500,000, and aggregate 5 million, whatever your balance sheet can support. Why do it that way? That it means that every time you don't have to run to an agent to get your bond in every time a job becomes available, because you know what your limits are. They've given you what your single job limit is or your aggregate. And as long as you don't go above those, then you don't have to go back to that agent. So you can just go bid and everything will be okay. So that's one thing to consider, right? And it's called a bonded line or a work program, right? And you should be getting that right now with an agent. The final thing I would say is I just wanted to emphasize what Devin said, and that is, don't be discouraged. Don't let no affect your confidence. We're here to help, and again, I want to compliment our partners. We have some great partners who rolled their sleeves up and work with small businesses to get them what they need. And it was such a pleasure listening to the small business panel, because my team and we put so much effort into marketing this program with the district offices and the resource partners, and to hear from the small businesses that some of the things that we do is actually working. I mean, they talked about calling the district office and they were referred to agents. They went to our website. There's a lot that goes into making this thing work. So it was great to see that a lot of it is working. So again, thank you guys so much for inviting me and Tamara and our partners to participate. Not because this is my last event, but this has probably been one of the best SBA presentations that I've been involved with. So thank you and keep it up.
Peter, thank you for adaptation. Lakita?
No, I just wanted to say it was everything that I thought it would be and wanted it to be. Thank you to Peter, and we're glad to know that we were your last event, and it was a great one. To all those who spoke and to the Massachusetts District Office, just thank you. I hope everyone took something out of this and can reach out to someone to help get you going.
We will email you the test.
All right. Yeah.